Hello and welcome to my channel. This channel focuses on narcissistic traits. This video is an analytical tool based on my experience and is intended to help others and promote some discussion and conversation. I am not a professional therapist. Today we're going to focus in one of the narcissistic traits called manipulation. As you can see from the column on the right, there's a long list of options when you consider how do you define a narcissist. And of course, there are many videos and papers and publications that talk about it. So we're not going to talk about that. We're going to focus, as I said, on manipulation. So the most important thing when we talk about manipulation, based on my experience, is how do you feel? How do I feel when I'm giving something? If I feel happy, peaceful, calm, then there's no need for me to worry or for me to overanalyze or to get stuck in any type of reflection upon it. However, if you or myself ever feel puzzled or surprised or uncomfortable, then there are some things that should be reviewed, and that's what we're going to be talking about. Those moments when you feel puzzled, you feel uncomfortable, and you're not understanding why you're feeling really surprised about something that should be natural on us, that is to just give and exchange. So first I went to look into the definition of manipulation, and as you can see from this short definition, is focusing on the control. And I think that is clear that that's when you try to influence something and the other person is either not really wanting to be controlled or feels uncomfortable while being controlled. We're going to talk about manipulation tactics. We're going to talk about the options that I have done in the past and have worked for me, and most importantly, we're going to talk about why are we in this situation to begin with. The first type of manipulation is what I would call overt. So once upon a time, I was in a relationship with somebody who, in a non-playful manner, said to me, "You have to do this for me." So it's all about context. If it's playful, if it's different than anything that makes you feel uncomfortable, once again, then that's when we need to analyze it. In this case, there was an absence of, "Would you please help me with this?" or "Would you please anything?" So when there is no structure and no respect, definitely is something we should be looking into. And then the more subtle ways that, again, somebody else that I was having a very light but regular interaction, she was actually asking me to do something that in my view was obvious. She had a phone that was at least 2 generations more modern than mine, and she was asking me how to do a Google search. So clearly she was just manipulating me to do something for her that she either didn't want to do or she chose not to do. Whatever the case, these are the 2 types of manipulation. And the most important thing is, how do you get away from feeling uncomfortable and feeling manipulated? So when you have an overt request like this one, "You have to do this for me," there are several options. So one that I have used in the past is, "No, sorry, I don't have time right now." So the tricky part is that it only delays the situation, because then the obvious question next is, "Oh, you can do it right now? When can you do it?" So I don't necessarily recommend this route of action. There are other options outlined below. "Sorry, I don't know how to do that," which could be true or not true, but it's very final. That's not going to work for me. I actually like that a lot. It makes me feel in control. And whenever you're uncomfortable or you are actually not choosing to do something, a simple no followed by a silence is actually quite powerful. So it requires a lot of control when you tend to talk too much, like myself, but it's actually very, very powerful. The next one is when you have subtle requests for control or manipulation, something similar to what I outlined before. How do I do this? So when it's a superficial interaction, let's say somebody who's asking you something in the bank or in the street or whatever, you just do it once, you don't have further contact, you don't think much about it. When it's something that is a passing, what I call a passing acquaintance, somebody you have regular interaction with, you may want to do it once. Just be aware for next time. And if you see a pattern, then you may want to go back to analyze, why is this happening and how can I get a hold of the situation? When it's a permanent relationship, that's when it gets more tricky. So some tools that I have used in the past is, "I am not sure," "I'm not the best person to ask," and the most powerful of all is, "I don't know." It's very final, and you are allowed not to know. The best part is when you can remain quiet. Why? Because then you can observe what is going to happen next is very important, because if the person after you say, I don't know, says, oh, okay, and moves on and there's no aggressiveness, then you understand, okay, this is a regular interaction. But in the moment of quietness, if the response is going to be aggressive or trying to exercise some type of control, then you know you're definitely dealing with somebody who wants to manipulate you. Now, the most important part of this conversation is, why are we in this situation to begin with? And again, these are things based on my experience. In my case, I'm extremely impatient, so that I have understood it's ego-based, and the thought and behind and the intention is, I can do it faster, let me do it. Again, it's a way of being manipulated, but at the same time is imposing yourself on somebody else right to grow and to explore and to self-determination. So it's a little bit of analysis back and forth. It's not only fault is over there, it's also fault is in both sides of this equation. Another one that I have noticed is helpfulness. Sometimes it's selfless based. I just want to share my knowledge or do something for something. If you feel like that, nothing wrong about it. That's actually very beautiful, very powerful. And then one that I also have is the need to be needed. That is definitely codependently based, and the thought behind it is, you see how useful I am worthy. So that one is actually, we could have a whole video about that, because that's another type of thing that goes back to you. So once again, try to understand not only this situation, try to understand not only what's happening over there in the mind of another, in the psyche of another, but most importantly, what is happening within you. So once again, that's what matters. How do you feel when you give? Do you feel happy? Do you feel peaceful? Do you feel calm? Because that's the ultimate objective, I think, in life, is to feel good, and with every interaction in your life. Thank you for listening. Feel free to like, dislike, whatever you feel like saying in your comments. That would be fantastic. The interaction is the whole objective of this channel. Thank you very much. Have a great day.